guys, my name is Rick, and in today's video we're going to be upgrading the stock rear lighting on the Streetglide ST with some awesome custom dynamics products to really light up that back end and make you safer out on your rides. And we'll get into it right after this. That's right guys, we're going to be upgrading the stock lighting on the rear of this Streetglide ST. As you know, coming from the factory, it does have this LED center brake light, but all it does is run and brake. And honestly, you can't from the side really get a view of the lighting, so it's not great, but as always, it meets minimum DOT requirements. And then we have these turn signals, but as you can see, this is in run mode. They don't illuminate unless you actually turn on the turn signals. And then we have these reflectors, which in my opinion, these are one of the ugliest things Harley Davidson has put on these bikes. But again, this meets minimum DOT requirements, but frankly, I don't feel safe. So today, what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna start off by removing these reflectors. We're gonna replace this LED brake light, run and brake light with a custom dynamics product. We're gonna eliminate these turn signals. We're gonna add low profile sequential bag lights. We're also going to add filler lights in the fascia here to add much more light. And when we get all this done, I'm going to show you a comparison between what it looks like stock at night and what this looks like at night with all of this custom dynamics plug and play products, including I'll also be adding the magic strobe. I've got my heat gun. I'm going to go ahead and turn it all the way up on the highest heat setting, but again, I'm not exactly sure if I need this, but I think it's going to make it just a little bit easier to kind of peel this off. So let me warm this up and then see how this goes. So I've heated that up for just a few minutes and this reflector got pretty hot pretty quick. So it looks like to me if you just kind of pull up on this, it should peel that reflector off. And as you see, the reflector came off pretty easy, but it did leave the 3M tape on there, which actually is pretty gooey. So I think what I'm going to do is just try to kind of peel that off now. And then I will actually use some adhesive remover, which I'll show you that in just a minute. So let me get this peeled off and we'll see how this does. I've got this side pretty cleaned up. Again, I think the heat gun works well to get it to this point, and I just kind of pushed it with my thumb. So now I'm actually going to use this 3M automotive adhesive remover. I'm just going to spray a little bit on there and let it set. So I'm going to actually put my microfiber towel down here so it doesn't run down onto the pipes. And just let that set for just a minute. And now that that's set for just a few minutes, I'm just going to kind of push, and that pretty much eats that stuff right off. So it's coming off real nice here. So I'm just going to work on this. The other thing it does say is don't press too hard on this because it may dull the paint itself. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this, and then we'll come back once I get this goo off of here. That worked out pretty well. As you can see, this is nicely cleaned up, and again, I think this stuff is a lifesaver. Again, this is the 3M auto adhesive remover. So I just sprayed it on there a couple of times and it got all of that gunk off there. So now I'm just going to finish up the other side, and then we'll be really ready to start putting some of the replacing and putting some of the new lighting on here. So with like any other custom dynamics products that I put on my bikes, these are also plug and play. And the harness that you're going to be connecting to really to control the rear of the bike is this one right here that's connected to your rear fender that's up underneath the seat. So if you disconnect this, you can see very clearly that this one goes to the rear of the bike. So that will be where we want to put in, and this is actually running up to the front of the bike. So these are the two connecting points that we're going to be using as we kind of go through this installation. And this is the magic strobe. So I'm actually going to go ahead and connect that before I start connecting any of the lighting to the rear of the bike. And this magic strobe will actually connect into this connecting point here that's actually running to the front of the bike, because the front of the bike is actually what is controlling this, and then everything behind this magic strobe will then make that strobing pattern. So if you connect this incorrectly and put the magic strobe last going in, anything that's plugged in before that will not strobe. So I'll just very simply plug the magic strobe in. And actually, if I wanted to use the magic strobe with just the setup I have here, I would just connect this into what's going back to the rear of the bike. I mean, you can't mess this up. There's really only one way to plug these in. So that will be it. And then on the Magic Strobe, underneath this little cap, you have your adjustments to change your settings as far as which pattern you want to put on this. And I usually use, I think it's the setting 6, which is the X pattern. So that's probably what I'll set this to once I get everything set up. I've got the Magic Strobe set up, so I'll just give you an example of what the Magic Strobe can do. If you just wanted to go with Magic Strobe at this point, it will actually allow this rear brake light to flash, and you'll check it out here. So that's pretty good, but I know we can improve upon this with a custom dynamics light that will actually give me wraparound lighting on this rear brake light. So now that we've got the custom dynamics Magic Strobe connected, and we know it operates the stock rear light, now I'm actually going to install filler panels, which will go right in here. So let's get into that now. Okay, so before we actually begin to install the lights, what I'm going to do is actually put the adapter that you need on this. So again, I've got my Magic Strobe plugged in coming from the front of the bike to here, and then I'm going to take my adapter, and again, there's one way that this will plug in like this. And then the other end, if that's all I wanted, I would plug it in here. The only other thing I need to get these to do run, brake, and turn are these two little adapters. And these will actually just connect into these little connectors here. And obviously, we got purple, I think it's purple, red, and black. So you want to make sure you get the right one. Purple, red, and black, which is this one. This end that I didn't plug into the front will actually go back to the back of the bike. So then in order to get brake on this, you actually need to use this Positap that you'll see this coming out of this adapter harness. And on the harness that comes with the kit, the filler light kits, you actually find this red wire right here. You slide this Positap over, and then you just screw this on. And what that does is essentially taps into the brake light line. All right, so I've got the right side filler light connected so that it will run, brake, and turn. So let's turn it on and we'll check it out here. So we've got obviously run. I'm going to turn on my right signal. We got nice bright flash, and then we should get brake. And we do. We get the Magic Strobe braking on that as well. So now I'm just going to repeat the process and get the left side connected, and then we'll be ready to actually put these into the filler panels in the back of the bike. Now we're ready to install the filler lights in here. So you can see I've kind of got the one on the other side there, dry fit, but the way these go, this has sort of a wider section here and a narrower section here. This goes to the outside, so you know this is the left side, and essentially it also has this 3M tape on it. So you'll kind of activate that 3M tape, peel this backing off, and then slide it in here. But you do want to make sure obviously that this is free of any dirt and dust and grease. So you want to kind of wipe that down with some alcohol to make sure that it's clean so that you do get a good stick on this. But I will say, you know, from dry fitting the other one, I don't have it stuck on there. They do stay in there pretty tight. So this is just really some added security. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, clean this up, peel this off, stick these in, and then reconnect them. And I'll show you what this looks like once we've got these put in the filler panel. So we've got the filler panel lights obviously installed on both sides. So they run just like the center run and brake light. We've got turn, right turn, and then we've got left turn, and then we'll have the strobing pattern from the Magic Strobe. This is the Custom Dynamics Turn Signal Eliminator kit. We're actually going to be using this one up here in black. So there's a light illuminating down to illuminate your license plate bracket so you are legal in whatever state. So we got that. So this is what it'll look like once it's installed. So you see we don't have those dog bones anymore. This will bolt in where those dog bones were. Then we're going to replace this stock run and brake light with this Custom Dynamics Probeam light which actually has bars, LED bars running around the side, so you get more visibility from the side. And this is also a much lower profile than the stock. So the first step in this is we need to actually remove this stock run and brake light. So it's really just a Phillips screwdriver on either side of this. So we're just going to loosen that up and take those two screws out. So now that I've gotten the screws out on either side of this rear tail light, this will then release, pretty simple. And then there's a connector in here, which I just need to disconnect to remove that tail light completely. Now that I have this disconnected, if I wanted to, I could now go ahead and connect the Custom Dynamics replacement light for this. However, we're actually going to remove this dog bone style for the Eliminator kit. So now before I actually loosen the bolts on this dog bone style turn signals, I need to release the wires that operate that, which is going to be this one is a purple and black wire and a purple and black wire here. So I think if I just push in on the top here with my screwdriver, that will release that plug on that side, and then I'll do the same on this side. So now I've gotten those disconnected. Now I'm going to go back up under here. I'm going to loosen the bolt here, and then we should be able to eliminate this this whole kit here now. So I got this entire back assembly off, this turn signal assembly off, but as I showed you earlier, I disconnected the turn signal light here, but since this has lights here to illuminate your license plate bracket, in order to get that out, I actually had to cut this wire that's going into this slot here, and that will actually be where I'll feed my Custom Dynamics wiring through here, and then I'll actually have to splice it. I think that's the only solution I have. Typically Custom Dynamics things you don't have to splice. This is the power to illuminate the license plate, the LED license plate. So I went ahead and cut that, so I'll splice that in, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So here's the wires that I just mentioned I'll have to splice into, the white and the black wire that's actually coming off of, this is an LED license plate illumination light that's on there. And so what I did was I actually curved the plate to fit onto this curved bracket, and then I actually had to notch it right here. And Custom Dynamics actually gives you the template to mark where I needed to slot that or slice it, and then I just bend it down with the pliers so that it doesn't rub or fray this wiring that's controlling this license plate illumination LED there. Now I'm pretty much ready. They do have two supplied bolts that you will use to put right in here that will come out of these holes here, so I'll have to get back up underneath there, and it's a 1/2 inch I believe, and tighten that down. I'm going to clean this up as I've actually routed this black and white wire through the license plate holder through this hole with the grommet on the right side, and I'll pull this up, and then what I'll do now is just go ahead and connect this bracket with the two supplied bolts, which are 1/2 inch, and then that part will be done, and then I'll go ahead and splice these wires onto here to make sure that that's all good, and then this portion will be done, and then we'll be ready to move on to installing this new Custom Dynamics rear light on here. So now I've got the turn signal eliminator kit on. Again, it was just those 1/2 inch bolts that I ran up into there, and you do want to use the ones that come with the kit from Custom Dynamics because they're a little bit shorter than the stock ones. And then obviously we talked about splicing those wires, and I just kind of bunched them up in here so that they're ready to, they're kind of out of the way and they won't get smashed when I do put this next light on. And this is the light we'll be putting on. This is the Probeam Custom Dynamics LED rear turn signal. Again, it's a low profile, and let me just show you the difference between this and the stock one. So there's a difference between the two. As you can see, this has sort of rows of LEDs, and this has sort of LED bars, which gives you light all the way around that, so you do get a little bit more illumination from the side. It does already have its own plug, so I just took the stock plug out of this bracket here, and then this will just plug in. And so the only thing we need to do is I need to put the waterproof gasket around this, and then we will reuse the stock screws that came with this rear light to connect this Custom Dynamics one back into this housing here, and then that should wrap it up. So the first step in putting this on, we actually have to put this supplied gasket on here. So it does have some sticky stuff on here, and I'm not sure what these two holes are for down here, but essentially it just kind of sticks in here like this. Go in there like that. So I'll peel that backing off and stick that in, and then we should be ready to go ahead and put the tail light in. And then you will reuse, again, these two screws that came in the original headlight, but there are some nylon washers that come in the kit, so you'll use those instead of the metal ones that came on the stock rear light. So again, this is just going to plug in where the stock one was plugged in previously, so we got good connection there. And then it goes in this orientation here, and you just kind of get it on that housing. And then with your Phillips screwdriver, we'll put in the two screws that go on the side here to hold it in. And then I'll get the other side started. So we'll just keep tightening it down until it becomes hand tight. It doesn't turn anymore. You don't have to over tighten this again. It's kind of going into plastic. Okay, so I've got that tightened down. So now we're ready to take a look at this and see what this looks like. We've got it in run mode. As you can see, this is much brighter. And obviously I've got this additional lighting here to the side for turn signal, run, brake, and turn. This will be run and brake. And then obviously I got my LED illuminating my license plate bracket. So we've got that all set up. The only thing that I have left to do that I'm not going to show you on camera because I've already done a video on this is actually put on low profile sequential bag lights. Again, those will be lights kind of running across the bags here. So I'm not going to bore you with that, but if you do, I will have a link to that down in the description, as well as at the end if you would like to check out the full install video. So, okay guys, so I just finished putting on the low profile sequential bag lights. That really puts the wraps on this back end. I mean, look at how much more light that is on this rear end compared to stock. Now, I've got run, turn, and brake on the Bagz and here in the Fillerz, and then this is run and brake. And as you can see, these LEDs are super bright. Before we wrap up, I'm going to show you a little comparison between stock at night and Custom Dynamics rear end with turn signal eliminator. Again, we started the day with removing those reflectors, which honestly don't do much. And then we really started getting into all this, including putting that magic strobe on here that gets everything to strobe. So guys, with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed this. Give you a flavor for what you can do with Custom Dynamics. All of the Custom Dynamics are lifetime warranty on the LEDs. Typically, it's all plug and play. As I showed you in the video, I did have to splice one wire, and I think that's just because of the ST setup to get this license plate illumination LED to light up off the harness that's in this housing here, which wasn't really that difficult. And if you have that same instance, follow what I did and it'll take care of it. Before we wrap it up, I'm going to ask, if you like this type of content, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit that button right down below. It says subscribe. And when you do subscribe, leave a comment down below saying I subscribe so I can personally reach out and thank you for supporting the channel. Also, share this with your friends so that like-minded individuals can see this type of content. All the content I have is around Harley Davidsons. I have a 2023 Street Glide ST that we worked on today. I have a 2021 CVO Street Glide and a 2021 Road Glide Special. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. And with that, guys, I'm going to leave you with this thought. Life is short. Get out and ride the bike. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.